Breaking news, fire crews are on the scene of a 2-alarm church fire in Westport. Just a massive fire right now.
Look at this burn, folks. It's a live look from Skytracker. As you see, firefighters are now taking a defensive stance against this fire. The Westport Presbyterian Church, 175 years old. The fire's taking a massive toll on that building with the roof completely in flames. No injuries reported as of right now. Captain Greg joins us from Skytracker. Captain, what can you tell us?
Okay, guys, yeah, this fire now burning for about half an hour. We've been on scene for roughly about 15 minutes, and the fire has developed tremendously just in about the last 5 or 10 minutes. This church is located right in the heart of Westport, on Westport Road between Main and Broadway. Certainly people, as they travel on those two main arteries through the city, can see this. As Tim pushes in, you can see that the Kansas City, Missouri Fire Department is doing all they can to try to fight this fire. The winds coming out of the south are working against them, and the flames spreading from the church itself to the building next door. I believe that's also part of the church, perhaps the rectory, but this fire is spreading very rapidly right here in the heart of Westport. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, that is part of the whole church property. Greg, you've been there for a little while. Are they making any headway on it, and are there other buildings anywhere close to there that are in danger right now?
Well, this is going to be on the south side of Westport Road. I would say at this point it looks like it'll be isolated to the south side of the road as the winds are blowing. I think it's going to only affect the church, but it is certainly going to destroy both those buildings that are associated with the church right here in Westport.
We continue to monitor. When you're panned out and you see all of the activity coming from every direction there with emergency crews on the scene, you'd imagine this is quite the sight to be seen from the streets down there at Westport. We'll continue to follow this breaking news at the 40th and Westport intersection. The Presbyterian Church.
Yeah, it really is a tragedy. It's a beautiful building in a very historic part of Kansas City. Once again, this fire was reported about 30 minutes ago. That's when the first call came in. We're trying to find out if anybody was inside. I think that we know there was a child care center in there.
Well, the Willow Woods Child Care Center is in that building. At least that's what shows up when we looked at this on Google Maps, and you would hope at 6 o'clock at night perhaps that has been completely, closed down for the day. We've also started to make calls to area businesses down there to see if they might have heard something. I know you were asking that question. Was there an explosion? That's a huge fire that would have had to have been working to have those large of flames this quickly.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of the Milburn Country Club fire, how that just blew up and just spread all over the place. Once again, you're looking at a live shot from Skytracker. Captain Greg, are you still up there?
Yes, ma'am.
How's the traffic looking around there? Is it blocked off on the streets nearby?
Well, the heart of Westport pretty much is closed off as the fire department is circling this thing. A lot of lines run, a lot of hoses, a lot of apparatus, as you can imagine. So this part of Westport certainly is going to be closed down. It's going to affect a little bit as the smoke blows to the north. But as far as traffic on Main Street and Broadway in the area, getting around without too much problem.
And for what it's worth, I know right before we came up for the 6 o'clock news, I called the phone number for the church, and the answering machine picked up, and it had a normal machine message on there, so it doesn't appear to affect it, at least the phone lines going into the office, but you can tell the sanctuary absolutely. Chris Hernandez there is on the phone and has just arrived on the scene. Chris, what can you tell us you're seeing?
Well, I'll tell you what, Captain Greg was just talking about how the traffic on Broadway and Main is moving along okay, but I can tell you it's much different right here in the heart of Westport where this fire is going, because there are a lot of businesses and restaurants. There is a library and a post office right across the street, and there are people who are just getting off work who are walking through the area and are sort of caught up in this because the smoke is very, very heavy and dense and acrid right here at the ground level. People are covering their faces with cloth and trying to get through the area. Now, some of them were staying around watching it first. Others are just trying to hurry through and get away from us because the smoke is so thick here at street level. And it does depend on which way the wind is blowing. It has shifted several times, so you might go to the other side of the street where there's not so much smoke, and then the wind shifts and it comes back towards you. Now, where I'm standing right now, I'm on 40th, just a little bit up the hill from the fire, basically right next to that big stone structure, and you can just see the flames shooting out of the top. There are a whole lot of fire crews here, and as you said earlier, some of them are in a somewhat defensive position, but they do have water going on it from a couple of different sides here. A whole lot of tower crews on the scene as well to take care of the utility issues. And again, a lot of people, because it's such a busy area, just on the street, those trying to get through, sort of covering their faces with cloths because the smoke is very thick here at the street level, depending on which side of it you're on, depending on which way the wind is blowing. So, Krista, I can tell you this is certainly making quite an impression on the folks right here in the Westport neighborhood.
Oh, sure would be. Well, it'd be hard not to watch, but you know smoke can be so dangerous and so unhealthy for you, and it's a 175-year-old building. Who knows what is inside and what is burning right now. Let's go back up to Captain Greg. It looks like a lot of smoke coming out of there now. Are they actually getting some of these flames to come down, Greg? It looked like it a minute ago. Now I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think the best they can do is just try to keep it from spreading. Mostly defensive at this point, but it is going to certainly go all the way through the church, starting on the back of it, which is the south side, and making its way along the roof line. And like we talked about earlier, the building next door, the rectory, I'm not exactly sure if there's classrooms over there. Like you said, there was a daycare. But in the time we've been here, we've been on scene now for about 23 minutes, and it has spread tremendously in the time that we've been here. Fire department do what they can just to be, like I said, defensive about it, just hopefully keep it from spreading. But those two buildings certainly fully involved at this point.
Greg making a very good clarification there. Did we keep hearing us saying defensively fighting it? It just means at this point they're trying to protect the buildings around it. And you can see from that, vantage point that the church, it would seem to be a massive loss there.
It's just burning to the ground,
right.
Apparently. Yeah, it really is sad. Just a cool structure there that church has seen a lot of history.
175 years we were talking about, and you could see all the people standing around. I know Mario's is right across the street there. We thought we'd get a call into Mario's and see if they heard some kind of an explosion, because as we were talking about, you would assume that there was something that would have started this and made it so big so quickly. Yeah, we've got a lot of information we're gathering, and we're going to come back to this throughout the newscast, but we'll move on to some other news, but we'll be back just as soon as we get any more information on what happened at that church.